Signalis is best experienced by going in blind, so if that section interested you, you should click off the video and go buy the game. It's like $20 on Steam. But if you want to learn more, let's get started. It is hard to tell you what this game is about without spoiling it, but I will try. Gameplay wise, it's a top-down mix of Resident Evil and Silent Hill. It has fun puzzles, environments, characters, and very fun lore to go around and scrounge up to try to piece the story together. But the main draw of this game is its story, and how it's incorporated into the game. Because of its importance, I'm gonna give a very general overview of the story with nothing specific, as to not give much away. The story is set place in the future, where the Empire has conquered the planets in its solar system. There are replicas, who are artificial humans more metal than flesh, and gestalts, who are humans, just normal humans. They work alongside each other for their respective factions. You play as a replica who needs to find a gestalt girl, with the only clue being a photo of her. You must fulfill the promise. You might be like, okay, this is sounding interesting, but I'm not sure this is the game for me. Here I made a list of shows, anime, movies, and games that if you like, I'm pretty sure you're gonna like the game, so feel free to pause and check if you like anything. In this section, I'm gonna talk about the strengths of this game. And mild spoiler warning ahead, because I'm gonna start discussing the middle parts of the game, so like the meat of the game. So if you want to experience everything by yourself first, I suggest you click off the video, but for the rest of you, let's begin. Let's begin with the art direction. The art direction in Signalis is fire. The environments are great, and I really like how the characters are designed, because they clearly communicate what they are. Just by looking at them, you can tell what their purpose is. The Adler replicas are clearly sleazy and stern, miners are high-powered and do the heavy work, Storches look like they're ready for combat. I think the people who made the game have something for very tall girls, because some of these robo girls are literally 8 feet tall. Another thing I really liked are the posters that are scattered around the game. They give that extra spice, that extra flavor to the game, and just contextualize the world even more. Let's move on to sound design. It's amazing. For one, the music is great. You've been listening to it since the video started. Every sound in the game has such great texture, and you can really feel the intentionality behind every little sound. I think one of my favorite moments of sound design is at the beginning of the game, and the Penrose with the howling winds and the sound of the ship. And another great example of the excellent sound design is the cutscenes. Oh my god, they are amazing. My favorite one is probably the first major one you see. Try to pay attention to all the sound elements going on. I think it's great. Next, let's talk about the atmosphere and the immersion. And for me, they're both very connected because a game with great atmosphere is going to immerse you. Because of how good the art direction and the sound design is, the game really has this way of just pulling you in and immersing you into the world. I'm telling you, only a few games had me this locked in while playing them. Next, let's talk about puzzles. The puzzles aren't too hard nor too easy, they're the perfect mix in my opinion. All the puzzles were fair, there wasn't a single puzzle that was any BS. If you pay attention and read the stuff laying around, it's very enjoyable to see everything clicking together. Next, let's talk about details. This game has amazing attention to detail. Some of my favorites are, at the end of the game, if you go back and enter Adler's room, you can see all of his notebooks saying the same thing because he's been in a loop. There's a bioresonance attack from the Calibris that glitch out your entire UI. When Adler pushes you down the elevator shaft and you fall on a pile of your own bodies, and then you go down the level and realize you've been here so many times. And I'm sure I've missed a bunch of interesting details. For the final strength of this game is its lore and story. I'm not going into it here because the final chunk of this video is reserved for it, but I'm telling you, it's amazing. Source, trust me, bro. Now let's talk about this game's weaknesses. The first would be combat. It's It's kind of just bland. It's there just to fill space between the sections, and towards the end of the game it becomes very repetitive and annoying. Mainly because they just spam enemies into a small room, and it just becomes really annoying to clear out, especially with the inventory QOL issues. You only have 6 inventory slots, and the problem with that is that key items that you need to progress the game go into the normal slots, and so does everything else. So basically you always run out of inventory space, and you constantly have to run back and forth between your storage to clear out hordes of enemies, because there's just so many, you literally cannot clear them with a single gun and a single ammo stack. Another QOL thing I don't like is that the cutscenes don't save the game. So because of this I lost a bunch of time. And finally, there are sections that don't have a map, but also it's very hard sometimes to tell where a door is. And the main way to know where a door is to look at the map because it shows you. And because of that I missed a door, and it cost me an actual hour of playtime of running around not understanding what I missed. And also there were a few bugs, only 2 that I encountered, but they were really annoying. One was that I killed an enemy and it was still hitting me and killed me, and the other one was that I was getting hit through walls by an enemy. Now to wrap up this section, all of this is not that big of a deal because it all pertains to combat, which is just not the focus of the game. And now for the final fun part, the story. Big spoiler warning, I'm going to go over most of the story and the true ending. Afterwards, I'm going to give some of my theories. The story begins with Elster waking up in a crashed Penrose ship. Inside, she finds a photo of a white-haired woman and soon travels to a nearby silo. Deep inside the silo is a radio communication array, and using it, she broadcasts a strange transmission. Next thing you know, you're somehow at Lang Orbital, a vocation school, looking for a Gestalt girl named Alina Seo, who looks suspiciously like the white-haired girl. Something is horribly wrong here. People are dying or degenerating from a mysterious disease. But Elster cannot turn back. Along the way, she meets Isa Itu, a Gestalt girl searching for someone of her own. To proceed, Elster must collect 2 pieces of a broken key belonging to Alina Seo. Opening Alina's box reveals the Plate of Eternity. Touching it triggers a vision that transports us into Ariane Young's life, showing her home in Rockfront, the silo's radio array, and a letter implying that she is going to the high school in Sector C. When Elster snaps back, she is now physically carrying a radio module that she took from the Vision, suggesting that reality is breaking down. And more importantly, this ties Alina Seo and Ariane Young together. As Elster moves deeper, she learns through notes that Alina has been feigning and wondering why she hasn't seen Elster, even though no Elster model has ever worked at this facility. Eventually, Elster meets Adler after a brutal fight with a minor unit. Adler confirms that Alina is, or was, a factory worker that pushes Elster down an elevator shaft saying, "You shouldn't have come back." But as far as we know, this is Elster's first time here. Falling triggers another vision, this time from Isa's perspective as she searches for Erica and witnesses Ariane being bullied by replicas at the Sector C school. Elster wakes up on a massive pile of dead Elster units. Eventually we find Adler's diaries that indicate that he remembers her, but insists that no Elster units were ever assigned here. Here the story introduces bioresonance, a psychic ability allowing certain gestalts and replicas to read, communicate, manipulate, and attack the minds of others. Replica themselves are cloned artificial humans running modified neural copies of important citizens. The identities of these citizens are erased from history as a part of the reward for becoming a template. But replicas sometimes begin recalling their original life, which makes them defective, and defective replicas are killed. Next, Elster heads into the mines, where we see Isa confront Adler. Adler tells Isa that he has done this countless times before. It seems that he has confused Isa for us. This suggests that he is also trapped in a loop. During the exchange, Isa stabs his right eye and pushes him down a massive hole. Later, Elster goes to his holes and we jump down, where we get another symbolic vision, which suggests that Alina is merging with some greater entity or presence that calls to her. Elster then awakes in an inverted, surreal space where she must collect 6 plates to open a door. While doing so, she rescues Isa, who still hasn't found who she's looking for. Once the strange door is open, Elster goes through and returns to the silo from the beginning, but now it's made of red flesh. Going up the silo, we see the portal and Adler who waits, still impaled with Isa's knife. Passing the threshold leads into a red wasteland where we find the Penrose 512 littered with dead Elster units. There, the white-haired woman appears and says she has waited for Alina Seo, Elster, for us, Ariane Young. Next, Elster attempts to open the Penrose hatch, loses her arm, and dies. Credits roll, but this is actually a fake ending. Then Elster wakes up again in the intact Penrose. She finds Ariane Young, her lover, and they kiss. She wakes up once more, but for real this time, in a snowy wasteland next to the Penrose wreck. Her arm is still missing. Inside, she finds a cryopod with a grotesque lump of flesh on it and a dead replica right next to it. She grafts the body parts of this dead replica onto herself and presses forward to fulfill the promise. The cockpit is replaced by a hole of flesh, and we jump down and we are back on the beach. It seems like this is where Ariane Young's and Alina Seo's consciousness met. We are back at Lang Orbital, but this time the flesh is here. We jump down another flesh hole and we see Adler telling Falke she has changed, but he also has started to change. And now we are in Rotfront. Here, we learn that Alina Seo is becoming Ariane Young. We learn that Falke is turning into Elster. We learn that Ariane Young used to live here in Rotfront, and we learn that she is most certainly a very good bioresonator. We also learn that those proficient enough in bioresonance can shape the fabric of the world. And we find that Isa Itu was looking for her twin sister Erika, who lost her right eye, just like Adler and now just like Isa. Here, we need to find tarot cards to unlock a door. On the way, we meet Isa at the library she used to work at, and she says she cannot go on anymore and dissolves into the ground. We also learn that bioresonance is not fully understood, and we don't know the risks of such technology. Behind the puzzle wall is the same radio comm setup we found in the beginning of the game. We find Falke, who is slowly turning into us. She says Ariane Young won't dance with us anymore and won't forgive us. We fight. She says we are incomplete and must become one whole again. After killing her, we remember hugging Ariane and her paintings. We see a vision of Falke and Adler at the gate. She tells us that now we are one. Adler says that once again we've returned and asks us if we are really willing to go through this one more time and that the world won't be able to take it anymore. This may be the last time. He says that if we go back, it will all fall apart and he cannot let that happen. He stabs Elster in the right eye, but we shoot him and kill him. He says that we will destroy everything. We go into the Penrose and fulfill our promise of killing Ariane Young. We learned that during the Penrose operation, she probably started dying, but something prevented her from doing so. The Penrose program just sends ships into random directions and hope they reach something of value before the people on board run out of rations and die. It is basically a suicide mission. Ariane likely volunteered to escape her isolated, oppressive life and the punishment she faced for being an individualistic artist and not a proper citizen. We then died next to her, this version of Ariane Young that was metamorphosized from Alina Seo. If you haven't played the game, I hope that kind of made sense to you, and if you have played the game, I hope that was a good refresher. And now, let's move on to my theories. An Eldritch being came into contact with Ariane Young during the Penrose program. I think it originated from the holes that were dug in the earth. This entity somehow kept her alive while she was dying, and I think this is where the promise was made to end Ariane's suffering. Elster made a promise to kill her, and so she did, but Ariane did not truly die. Her consciousness was still alive, and her death wish was not granted. To make sure the promise could be fulfilled, Ariane used her bioresonance to create this loop. The disease we see in the game is actually the corruption of the loop. I think when people realize they're in a loop, they become those things. In conclusion, I really like this game. It has a few blemishes, but they're eclipsed by all the good this game has to offer. My rating is 9.5 depressed robo girls out of 10. Thanks for watching till the end. Make sure to like and subscribe because I actually have like 10 subs, so it would mean a lot. If you have any criticism, please leave it down below. And if you just fucking hate me and want to flame me, also leave it down below in the comments. See you around, guys.